27th of April, 2001. This morning, we'll start the program with an invocation. Charles Hollinger, followed by the pledge to the American flag, the Bill Beebe, and I'll lead you in the pledge to the Texas flag.
Our Heavenly Father, we ask you to look down on this assembly here to do your work when we see the path. Forgive us when we have fallen short of your expectations and help guide us to those things that would be pleasing in your eyes. Look after our first responders and all of those families represented here today and in first responders. In Jesus' name, the Lord's people said,
Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please honor the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Sir, we have a board member.
We do have a quorum present, and glad to see Mr. Don Armstrong, first time in a while.
Yeah, good to have you here, Don.
You've been in our prayers, Don, for all the trials and tribulations you've been through, and thank you for coming through, man.
Thank you, and thank you for all your kind words.
This meeting is being recorded, and members of the public may access the meeting through our college website. The second item on our agenda is consider approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees held on March 30th, 2021. That information is in your read-ahead packet. Any questions, any corrections? I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes as published. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 3 is the chairman's update and an opportunity for members of the public to suggest the addition of topics for discussion or to address topics of interest with a presentation limit of 3 minutes. Is there anyone present who would like to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move to the item 4, Chancellor's report.
Okay, sir, we have video and some pictures of Mutt, so who's doing the video? Dr. 80? No?
As you know, we have many different modes of delivery of our instruction, and sometimes our students get confused as to what's blended, what's synchronous, what's this, what's that. And I want to thank Barbara Merlot and her team for recognizing that and developing this video. As you know, students are very in tuned, and most of the people now want to see it in a video, want to see it in that sort of format rather than reading it. And this gives them the opportunity to distinguish between our various modes of delivery. So we keep doing that. We keep putting things out there to help our students navigate the academic system.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Garrett. Dr. 80, you're up. There we go.
All right. Good afternoon. You see a picture here of an event we had a few weeks ago with, it was a Ford event, and you see it says Tools for Transition Partnership event. So participants there were from the Workforce Solutions of Central Texas, Ford dealers, U.S. military was represented, and of course Central Texas College. The event was held here in our automotive area, and it looked really, really great. In this area, we are teaching students to become technicians of tomorrow and be employed with Ford. And this event was special because it highlighted the donation of $106,000, little over $106,000, that Workforce Solutions of Central Texas provided for the training vehicles, which was also matched by a grant from the Ford dealers. So, in other words, Workforce Solutions provided the grant and the Ford dealers matched that. So that resulted in vehicles being available for students to train on, and you see the students in the blue shirts in the pictures. And of course, it is a transition program for the military, so students will end up with Ford. And the people that presented the checks were Jonathan Cuff from Ford Motor Company and Aaron Demerson. He's the commissioner for Texas Workforce Solutions. And so on the right side, you see the checks, and it was a really great event. On the left, you see the toolkit, one of those toolkits that goes with every student that graduates from the program and has a signed job offer. To make this event happen, it really took a lot of things, so I know Mr. Gonzalez was very instrumental in pulling pieces together. Mr. Harmson and his team, they made the facility look so great. I have to tell you, we had people say, is this a new building that we're in, or is this a new room? And so it looked really, really great. Police department was involved. They talked to the student for a bit and were available. And the warehouse, under Mr. Sisson, they stored the toolkits for the students that arrived. And of course, Mr. Love was there. He was, oh, there you are, sorry. He was making sure we had audio visuals set up. And then Bobby Waddle and our graphics department, they teamed up. They made signs for the event. They placed them inside and outside. And then Ms. Merlo helped with the promotion of the event and during the event, and also press releases, risk management was involved. And then we had a lot of faculty and staff members attend this event. So truly a team effort. I know Ms. Havens was involved as well. So great, great event. We got a lot of publicity, so you may have seen something on the news or potentially in the paper. So great event here at CTC.
I'd like to mention a couple of things before we move on. Dr. Ades mentioned some folks on the staff that were instrumental in that, but again, I'd like to thank Ted Gonzalez for his efforts, because he championed this thing to the end. We're not at the end, but it's the beginning, but it's taken 3 years to get here. He worked alongside of General Miller, Jeff Miller, and General Tom Swartz, and they got this done. Thanks to the deputies for being there. They were all there. Thanks also to Mark for spiffying up that place. Some people had said they'd never seen that building before, and we said, well, you have, but it didn't look this good. So, and I'd also like to thank General Weaver for representing the Board of Trustees and the college for being there. Thank you, sir. It was a tremendous program.
All right. Sorry, a little bit different order than I have. Perfectly fine. This picture here is of a student that is doing a private pilot's course, pre-flight inspection on an aircraft to make sure that it is airworthy, and that's one of the things that students learn in our courses, and they have to do that before they go up for lessons. So we had a lot of wind here in the springtime, but students were still able and are still able to progress in their program, and of course we love it when it's sunny and not so windy. Right, we had a fine arts, well, this one is a picture of the rehearsal, but we actually had the fine arts play called By the Skin of Our Teeth that was performed last week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday here on our campus. And as you know, our students participate in the spring as well as in the fall semester as part of their class. They are part of the performance, and they do all parts of it. You see the display, the setup. So this year was a little bit different. You see the mask on, you see social distancing, but nevertheless, great performance by the students and all the faculty that assisted with that. All right, that's one of my favorites. So Friday night patio cafe, who doesn't like to eat good food? So last Friday was German cuisine, and I have to say it was very excellent. As you know, it's students designing the menu. They prepare the menu and buy the food, prepare the meals. And right now it is still for pickup. So you cannot dine in, but you can order your food and they will bring it to you in the car. You just need to tell them which side you're parked on and which vehicle you're in. And then they come out and bring it to you. On Friday of this week, it will be Arabian cuisine. Okay, this here's a picture of a partnership that we have. Our graphics and printing students designed decals, and they were put on police vehicles here on campus. And I'm going to give you a quote from Chief Berrigan. He said, "We are always looking for ways to strengthen relationships between the police department and our CTC family, which includes students. When we purchased a new patrol vehicle, I thought getting the students in the graphics department to detail the car was a great way to start building those bridges, which is the most important thing to come out of this project." So what you see there is what students designed and then put on the vehicles.
Me again. I didn't say good afternoon earlier. Good afternoon. The library partnered with the Workforce Solutions of Central Texas and presented a 3-part virtual series on soft skills and communication. And this included information about how to communicate with your supervisor, how to be a new employee, how to dress, how to interview to get the job, and the attitude, how to be a good employee overall. So this is what... and the Workforce Solutions of Central Texas, they were very pleased. They were pleased with the audience that we were able to reach. It's like 500 people attended these sessions. And so they want to do more of these types of sessions through the Workforce Solutions. Next. And our advising department brought this event to students, and it continues to be put on by many, many colleges, but we focused on the event with A&M Central Texas because we've got such a strong relationship with them. And this, we call these table talks, because normally the schools would come out and they'd put a table downstairs in the lobby and chat with students. Well, what these are virtual events similar to that, but they focus on specific programs. So this one, they focused on I believe it was public service and business. And they talk about transferring to A&M, but they also talk about the pathway from CTC to these specific programs. And we have additional programs coming up. We got one on May 12th, and the other programs, they're going to do a STEM, construction, manufacturing, transportation, and a focus on healthcare related programs at A&M. And then they're going to conclude with another big program on how to transfer. So these are opportunities for our students to continue their education.
I'd like to thank Dr. Adie and Dr. Garrett for the presentations, and you can see we're busy, we stay busy, and we're trying to make hay. So thank you, sir. End of report.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Item 5 is to discuss and consider approval of the March 2021 interim financial statements and investment report. Mr. Liberty.
Hopefully everybody had an opportunity to take a peek at the financial statements that were sent through. You know, you can look at the first page and you can go almost down to the bottom and see that if you compare the bottom line currently to a year ago, we're about $700,000 less positive than we were a year ago. Most years that might have us concerned a little bit. I think in the current year that we're in and the position we are with the pandemic, it's not as critical. But what's really critical when I started looking at these numbers, the bottom line's down $700,000, but overall revenue is down $7.3 million. So what that tells you is we have tightened up. Don knows all about this. When times are tough, you got to tighten up, and that's what we've done out here. When we built the budget with the guidance that the chancellor started and the board backed us with, we've cut our expenditures. So even though we have lost $7 million worth of revenue, it's only had a net impact of about $700,000 against our bottom line compared to a year ago. I'm impressed with that. I tell you what, it starts at the top, but then every person that works out here, I'm convinced everyone is trying to find ways to save dollars. It starts with the smallest thing. Do I need this extra pencils and paper, or do I have to do this stuff? I want to still provide the service to my students, but how can I do it at a lesser cost? And I think our staff around the world has done a great job with that, so they need to be applauded. When you look at these numbers, I report them. I don't have a whole lot to do with them. It's the people that are out there in the field that are making this happen. So I'm proud to present these financial statements for the month of March.
Any questions of Mr. Liberty? I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
A motion been made and seconded to approve the interim financial statement for March. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 6 is discuss and consider approval of the second option period for the depository services with Bank of America for a period of September the 1st, 2021 through August 31st, 2023. Mr. Liberty?
Yes, sir. Our current contract expires August 31st, and we're recommending that the board approve that we exercise the first option that we have. We have 3 two-year options. This is the first of the 3. We have excellent service from the bank and are very pleased. So the administration recommends approval.
A motion been made and seconded to approve the extension. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Liberty.
Thanks, sir.
Item number 7 is discuss, consider approval of Pruitt Consulting as independent licensed architects for the duration of the Department of Justice American Disabilities Act Accessibility Project in the amount of not to exceed $170,000 per year over the duration of the project. And just to remind, that duration is 36 months. Mr. Thompson?
Correct, thank you. Good afternoon. As was mentioned, we had issued a request for qualifications, RFQ 21-011, for an independent licensed architect to assist us with the inspection services component of the ADA work that the college is having to perform. At the workshop, we were still pending the Department of Justice's approval of Pruitt Consulting. We have since received that approval, and with that, the administration recommends the approval of Pruitt Consulting as the independent licensed architect for the duration of the ADA accessibility project, not to exceed $170,000 per year.
Any questions, Mr. Harms? I'll entertain a motion. The motion been made and seconded to approve. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 8 is discuss, consider approval of Joel's Flooring for job order contract services for the American Disability Act Accessibility Project in the amount not to exceed $300,000 per year over the duration of the project, which again is 36 months. Mr. Harmson?
Correct. In order to move the ADA work forward, we need to go ahead and look at having a couple contractors. The contractor that I had brought forward, Hill & Wilkinson, we're still having conversations. I'm not sure that they will end up working out, as I don't believe that they are currently a member of a purchasing cooperative, so we're talking to some other vendors. I will bring a second contractor back to the board for approval at some point in the future. For now, we do have a current job order contract with Joel Guzman, the DBA Joel's Flooring. And so with that, we recommend approval of Joel's Flooring for the ADA accessibility project, not to exceed $300,000. The construction work will exceed $300,000, but Joel's contract it limits us to $300,000 per year. So any work that he does on the ADA project, that's why we're limiting it to the not to exceed $300,000 per year.
Any questions of Mr. Harmson? And I'll entertain a motion. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 9 is discuss and consider approval of Mr. Charles Drake, Chester Drake, to the Foundation Board of Directors. And Dr. Carter will present that.
Good afternoon, everyone. Last week during the workshop, I briefed you on the nomination of Mr. Chester Drake to the Foundation Board of Directors. As noted in your packet, and by way of reminder, he is a professor here at the college in the Business Administration Paralegal Department. So at this time, unless there are any questions, we are seeking your approval of the nomination of Mr. Chester Drake to the Foundation Board.
Any questions of Dr. Carter? Bio is presided for your read ahead, and the Foundation Board is recommending approval.
So moved.
Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 10 is recommending topics for upcoming agenda items or announcements by the board and members. Anyone have anything they'd like to bring up for future agendas? Starting with Ms. Scully.
I can't think of anything, thank you.
James.
Me either.
Okay.
I have a reminder, sir.
Yes, sir.
Graduation. Graduation on Friday, May the 14th. We're having 2 ceremonies, one at 11 and one at 4 o'clock. It's in order to accommodate all the students we have attending and abide by the social distancing requirements and things of the Expo Center. So we'll see you there.
We have no handshaking. We'll be on the stage, but it'll be a different kind of ceremony we've had in the past. So, and we have 2. So one starts at 1 and be over what about 2:30 at the latest.
It'll probably last an hour and a few minutes. Where's Dr. Garrett? Hour and a half, maybe?
Yeah, no more than an hour and a half. One has more students than the
Yeah.
other, so it'll be a little bit longer, the evening one.
Then we'll have a little break and start again at 4.
Yes, sir.
So
I'm sorry, the day one.
I'd invite the trustees for a Dutch treat, and we'll all go to Belton for a meal and wait it out. Okay,
My church members is graduating, and I asked her Sunday which hour she's gonna attend. She said, I think I'm gonna do both.
I love it. Oh, my. Yeah, well, you know, that's a pretty great thing to happen. In a lot of families, it's a very significant event. And I think we've done a real good job with graduations in the past, and I think it really adds a lot when they show up and do it in person. It just seems like that's the closure they're looking for. So I'm excited about it. Item number 11 is announcement of the time and location for the board workshop scheduled for May the 18th, 2021, and the monthly meeting scheduled for Tuesday, May the 25th at 2021. And that will be in this room. Hopefully, we'll get back to our regular meetings here shortly. I just heard the CDC indicated that if you've been vaccinated, it's okay if you go out in public without your mask on. So I guess we're making some progress here. There is no executive session today, and I'll take a motion for adjournment. Motion been made, and I see a second, so the motion is vote with your feet.